Hello everyone, my name is Curtis. Today I'm doing a review for Euphoria Season 3, Episode 1. This episode focused on the following storylines. So the first storyline centered around Rue and her religious journey. So when it comes to Rue, she was able to connect with his family in Texas. And when it comes to this family, they are super happy, they're super friendly, and they're also super religious. And so when it comes to Rue, she just looks at them like, wow, they're always so happy and so friendly all the time. Maybe if I had religion growing up, I would be just as happy. And so we see throughout the episode that she actually starts to get more into religion. She actually starts to listen to the Bible on the audiobook, and she starts to talk about God a lot. And so throughout the season, we're going to see how her journey goes. The second storyline also focused on Rue. So we see that Rue actually became a drug mule for Lori. And y'all, the way that they were transporting the drugs, I was shocked. I could not believe it. I was just like, wow. But I guess as I think about it, I mean, how else would they actually transport the drugs? So I guess I really shouldn't be surprised, but to actually see it on TV and see how it's done, I was shocked. But what was even more shocking was the fact that when it comes to her debt, it actually ballooned from 10,000 to 43 million. So when it comes to Lori, she has some fucked up math, but she was able to put together that she actually owed her 43 million. And so the way that she could pay off her debt is to become her drug mule. The next storyline centered around Cassie and Nate's relationship, and we see that they have two different viewpoints about how life is supposed to go. So when it comes to Nate, he took over his father's business and things are just not going the way that he thought. It's harder than he thought it would be. And so when it comes to the money, he is making money, but he's not making the money that Cassie would like to make. Because when it comes to the wedding, Cassie wants certain things done. She wants like this really expensive floral arrangement. He can't really afford it at this time. And so she's looking for ways to make quick money. She's trying to become social media famous. Nate, he's not really with it. So we're just pretty much seeing how things play out when it comes to their relationship. And the last storyline centered around the relationship that Rue is building with Alamo. So when it comes to Rue, as I said a little bit earlier, she's working with Lori. Lori has her going this place and that place. She has to transport the drugs, which I'm going to talk more about as I go through the review. But she's pretty much sick and tired of it. She ends up meeting Alamo by accident. She was actually supposed to be there dropping off some drugs. She ended up dancing with some women. And so Alamo was like, hey, come over here. You shouldn't be dancing with my women. You didn't introduce yourself. And so we see them build a relationship, but then also we see that things kind of go left. And so he actually does test her at the end. So we just kind of see how that plays out throughout the episode. There were a couple of smaller storylines sprinkled throughout the episode, but I feel like those were the most important storylines. I'm going to touch on the smaller storylines when I get into my full review. In regards to my overall thoughts on the episode, I felt like it was a pretty good episode. I felt like it did a good job of setting everything up. I will say at the beginning, I did think that it was going a little slow. I was like, okay, we need to kind of pick it up. But once it did pick up, it really did pick up. So I was like, okay, it did a really good job of setting everything up. And I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season. All right, so now that I went over the main storylines and also I told you my overall thoughts, I'm going to get started on the full review. The episode begins with Rue narrating. She says that a lot of people come up to her and say, hey, how have things been since high school? She says, not good. We then see her inside of a car, but unfortunately she's kind of stuck. She can't get out of the spot, but there are people there who do help her. And then we see her drive through the desert. And so as she is driving through the desert, we end up seeing this ramp, right? So we see that there's a ramp on one side of the fence, and we see a ramp on another side of the fence. So I was like, oh, okay, so she must be trying to cross the border. And so she is currently in Mexico, so she's trying to cross back over to the United States. But in order for her to do that, she has to go up this ramp. And I was like, oh my God, this is absolutely crazy. So she does take the car, she does drive out the ramp, but then she gets stuck. And I was like, okay, this is not really realistic because let's keep it real for a second. If you have this big ass ramp on both sides, so one side is US, other side is Mexico, you have this ramp, and then you have this big ass car and you're driving up there, you better believe you about to get, if you know what I'm saying. I can't really say it on YouTube because they like to flag it, but you know what I want to say. She tries to move it back and forth to try to get it to go down the ramp, but unfortunately it's not doing that. So she does go into the trunk, and when she goes into the trunk, there is a large bag, so she does get the bag. Then she opens the car door, and she walks down the ramp with the bag. It looks like she's going to fall at first, but she is able to get her bearings, and she walks down, and then she just walks through the desert. And like I said before, in real life, she probably would have been down. So I was like, okay, this is a TV show, so I'm going to let it go. But in real life, she wouldn't have made it that far. The following morning, we do see Rue. She's sleeping inside of a barn. We then see a young girl. She actually comes into the barn. Rue wakes up and she's like, hey, would you like some milk? She was like, yes. So she does give her some milk. She says, this is the best milk that I've ever had. And then we flash forward to breakfast time. So she is sitting at the table, and we see that there are a lot of people at the table. And this is when we are introduced to Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller's praying over the food, and he says, you know what, when it comes to Rue, I'm so happy that she's here because she is a college student. She's writing for a college newspaper, and so she actually plans to put an article inside of the newspaper talking about how people are crossing the border and are bringing this poison into this country. And I was like, well, she's actually the one doing it, but go off, sir. Afterwards, they go outside and they actually say their goodbyes to Rue because Rue is getting ready to leave. But before Rue does leave, Mr. Miller does give her like a small pamphlet. It says the Ten Commandments on it, so we do see that he is very religious. And he says, you know, when you put that article into the newspaper, please send me a copy of it. My address is in the pamphlet. And she was like, you know what? I'm going to try my best to put it in the newspaper, but you know how the colleges are. They may not let me put it in, but I will do my best. And I was like, she's not going to put that in because she's not in college, fool. Rue then walks towards the car, and then we see one of Mr. Miller's daughters. Her name is Daisy. She walks towards the car as well. She gets into the driver's side and she says, hey, Rue, I just want to let you know I just got my permit, but I'm going to take you to where you need to go. And so as they are driving, this is when we find out that Daisy has never been on the internet. And so when it comes to Rue, she's like, you know, well, I feel like you got it good. And so when it comes to Daisy, she's trying to get to know Rue a little bit more, but Rue, she's not really trying to have a conversation right now, so she actually turns the radio up. I was like, damn, that's kind of rude. Daisy continues to drive until she pulls up next to a Greyhound bus. So she does stop, she lets Rue out. Rue gets on the Greyhound bus, and she ends up going from Texas to California. And when she gets to California, she goes to Lori's house. And when she gets to Lori's house, y'all, there are so many birds. I was like, how in the world can you deal with that noise? I couldn't do it. But Lori was like, hey, where's my car? She was like, unfortunately, I had to leave it. She was like, okay, I'll just add it to your tab. Speaking of the tab, I did kind of touch on this a little bit earlier when I was discussing the main storylines, but when it comes to our tab, it did start out at 10,000. It ended up ballooning to 43 million based on Lori's math when it comes to the interest. But she was like, you know what? I'll actually settle for $100,000. I know you do not have $100,000, so you know what? You're going to become my drug mule, and that is how she got into the situation that she's in right now. We then see Rue going to the strip club, and this was the part that was just like, whoa, I did not see this coming. This is something I just never thought I would actually see with my own eyes. But she ends up going to the back, and then this guy puts out this bowl, and I thought that the bowl was a bunch of onions. I was like, what is this? But it turns out to be these like balloon packs. They're full of drugs, full of fentanyl. And so he ends up putting down this thing of KY jelly, and I was like, what the hell is going on here? And so when it comes to Rue, what she has to do is she has this glass of water. She has to dip this balloon pack that's full of drugs inside of this water, then put KY jelly on the balloon pack and swallow it. And I said, oh my God, this is crazy. You can see that she was getting ready to throw up. Like, she couldn't even handle it. I couldn't handle it. I thought I was getting ready to throw up. I was like, this is crazy. Then we see that she got Faye involved, and so when it comes to Faye, she's doing the whole thing when it comes to the water. Then you gotta dip the drugs in there. Then you gotta put the KY jelly. Then you gotta swallow it. I was like, this is just too much. This is ridiculous. This is out of control. Like I said, I never thought I would see this with my own eyes. And so when it comes to Rue, she does say when it comes to these balloon packs, you know, if we do move right, everything will be fine. But if something does go wrong and the balloon pack it bursts, you know, if it breaks, we can die, like we can pass away. And I was just like, there's no way I can do something like that. I understand I owe some money, but there has to be something else that I can do. Like, I have to have all of these drugs inside of my body. I gotta shit all of these drugs out. Like, this is absolutely crazy, and honestly, it's borderline trifling. And speaking of people passing away, we do see this woman. She ends up collapsing. She ends up dying. They take her to the coroner's office, and when she's there, they look at an x-ray and they see that she's full of those balloon packs. And so they're like, you know what? We can actually do something with this. So they do cut her open. They take the drugs out of her body. They just rinse the blood off, and they do intend to sell it. And I was like, damn, that drug game is cold, man. It's cold. In the next scene, we see Rue and Faye. They're in a car. They're trying to cross the border. And so when it comes to Faye, she is just farting because one of the side effects of swallowing all those drugs is that it gives you gas. And so we see that she is farting. And so Rue is like, can you please just calm down and relax? And so they do finally make it up to the window. And so when it comes to the officer that's like, hey, can I see your passports? It appears that he is a little suspicious about, you know, what's going on. And so they do have the dogs like go around and sniff. And so it appears like it's going to be some shit, but everything does work out and everything is cool. And they are able to cross the border. After this, we see Rue being carried to the bathroom because remember, like I said, you have to shit all of these drugs out. I'm like, this is just too much. Like, it's so much going on. It's like, there's no way I can do this. First of all, it stink. It's gonna be funky. It's gonna be covered in shit. Like that's just too much. Like who is responsible for rinsing this stuff off? Like it's just too much. So after she finishes shitting out the drugs, she does sit down and have dinner with Faye and her family. And this is where we find out that Faye actually went into business with her cousin and her cousin's son. And so when it comes to Rue, she's looking around. She's like, I'm not trying to, start any rumors or anything, but I feel like there may be some type of incest that may have gone on in this family. And I feel like there may still be something that's going on, or maybe somebody in the family wants it to go on. And I'm like, you know what? You were not lying, Rue. You were not lying. And let's actually kind of dive into Faye's family situation for a second. So, when it comes to Faye, she says that her cousin's son, his name is Wayne, he really wants to get out of the drug business. He's been saving up money. He's been trying to do more than just do this drug shit. And he actually has this money in a safe. So Rue was like, oh, he has a safe. He has money in the safe. What else does he have in the safe? She was like, I don't know, like other important documents. And so Rue was like, oh, okay, so where's the key? Do you know where he keeps the key? And she's like, yeah, he keeps it on his belt. She was like, oh, okay, do you think you can get that belt off? And she was like, yeah, I feel like I can get that belt off. So I was like, this is quite interesting here. Back to Rose, she does go to visit Lexi. And when she visits Lexi, she tells her about the Miller family and how they're so religious. But when it comes to the family, they're not really into technology or being on the internet. But they just seem to be so happy, be so friendly. And she feels like, maybe if I would have grew up with religion in my life, maybe my life would have turned out a little bit better. Lexi tells her that she is not really into religion like that. And to be honest, when it comes to like friendship, she's not really trying to fuck with anybody that's really into religion. Because she feels like people who are religious, they are super judgmental. And I was like, you know what, sometimes they can be judgmental. The two of them end up talking about Fez, and long story short, Ruth feels like she needs to reach out to Fez. She's like, you know what, I'm busy all the time. I know I'm off right now and I'm talking to you, but normally I'm busy 7 days a week. But Ruth was like, I mean, it really doesn't matter because it's not like he's going anywhere. He's going to be president for the next 30 years. So therefore, you will always have time to reach out to him and have a conversation with him. Lexi was just like, I'm not really sure. Then we see how her life has panned out. So she does work in Hollywood. She works on a nighttime soap opera, and she's actually really good at her job. Now, in regards to Cassie. So Cassie is trying to become social media famous. She's trying to be like me and actually become monetized on social media. I'm not doing what she's doing, but she is trying to get monetized so she can make some quick money. But she has decided to dress up as a dog, and I guess she's trying to sell this whole I'm a slutty dog thing on social media. And so she actually has her housekeeper filming her. And so when it comes to Nate, he does actually come home. He sees what's going on. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? She tells him that she's trying to make content for social media. He was like, no, you can't be doing this. Then he looks over at the housekeeper like, wait a minute, hold on. What are you doing here? There are dirty dishes in the kitchen. There's trash everywhere. Get your ass in the kitchen, wash those dishes, take the trash out, make dinner. Bye. I said, damn, Nate. Cassie is trying to plead her case. He's not trying to hear it. He's like, look, I got deals on the table. There are deals that are coming up. If somebody sees you like this in a photo or a video, it could potentially mess up the deal. And so she was like, but when it comes to these type of photos and these type of videos, it can help me make money. He's like, you don't need money. I have money. So then he starts to do this whole, you want to dress like a dog, I'm going to treat you like a dog. So he starts to whistle her, and he's like, come here. Like she's an actual dog. She does come over. And then he says, you know what, you've been a really, really bad dog. And so one can assume that after this conversation, they fucked. Now, in regards to Nate, we do see how his life is panning out. So we do see that he took over his father's business, and he's learning that it is really hard to build in Southern California. And so he is trying to get certain deals done, but the person he's working with, his name is Kurt. He's not necessarily giving him a hard time, but he's just basically saying, like, I need to see how things are panning out before I give you more money for this project, because Nate wants to build this transitional facility. And so he does need Kurt to kind of step in and help him out when it comes to money. And so Kurt is like, you know what, I just need to see how things go before I can really fully commit to this. After this, we see Rue and Ali. They're at dinner at a diner. And so Rue is telling him about the family that she met in Texas and how they were, super religious, super happy, super friendly. And so when it comes to Ali, he says, people who are religious are normally more happy than those who are not religious. And so Rue was like, if I had religion in my life, I feel like things may have been different. And I do kind of want to get on a religious tip, but I'm not really sure where to start. Like, should I just pick up a Bible and start reading? He was like, I mean, that would be a start. And then she's like, but when it comes to the Bible, don't they say some derogatory things about certain groups of people in there? He was like what? She was like when it comes to the gay community. And so he was like, but I mean, that was like 3,000 years ago. Like, that was so long ago. Like, that doesn't represent the Christian community now. It represented them then. And she was like, I don't know. I feel like they said some really bad things. And so he was like, well, when it comes to the Bible, they were really talking about men being with men. They weren't really talking about women being with women, so you should be cool. Rue continues to go on and on about what she believes is in the Bible when it comes to the gay community. And so Ali was like, look, when it comes to the Bible, they were talking about men fucking men, butt sex. They were not talking about women fucking women. You are going to be fine. So she's like, you know what? You are right. I'm sold. I'm actually going to start reading the Bible. So we do see when she gets into the car, because she does Uber on the side. While she is driving Uber, she actually puts in an audiobook of the Bible. And so she does listen to it while she does do Uber. Now, let's go back to Faye's family for a second. So remember earlier I was telling you that Ruth said that she believes that there may be some incestual things happening when it comes to Faye's family. Well, the next scene proved that this may be true. And so when it comes to Wayne, who is Faye's cousin's son, he does reach out to Rue like, hey, we need to talk. And so Rue does meet with them. And so he says, hey, I need you to deliver some product to this guy. He's an asshole. He's rude. He's disrespectful. But I need you to get this done. He is a big time player, so you cannot fuck this up. Then he says, when it comes to dinner, I'm actually going to make this special dinner for me and Faye. It's going to be really nice. It's just going to be us. And so Rue was like, and I was like, the fuck? Later on that night, we do see Rue. She does arrive at this house because remember, she does have to deliver this product, right? So she does get to the house, and there's this guy. He's just standing there. It's super awkward because she's like, so are you going to come out to the car to get it? Do you want me to get out of the car and give it to you? So eventually she does get out of the car. She does hand it to the guy. He doesn't say anything. Then she's like, I actually need to use the bathroom. Can you tell me where it is? And he gives her these complicated ass directions. I mean, it is a really big house, but he does give her directions. She's like, okay, cool. Thank you. I'm about to go to the bathroom. As she is walking away, Bishop tells her that she better not touch anything. So Rue, she does walk through the house. She does eventually make it to the bathroom. And so when she opens the bathroom door, she actually sees that there's a woman in there. She barely has any clothes on. You can see her titties. So she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I apologize. I'm going to step out. So Leia's like, actually, no, can you please come in and help me with my dress? So Rue was like, okay. After Rue helps her with their dress, she asks her, how long have you known Alamo? She was like, who the hell is Alamo? So then we see Bishop. Bishop is walking through the house because he's like, where's this girl at? She said that she had to pee. It shouldn't take her that long to use the bathroom. And so as he is walking through the house, we actually see Rue. She is partying with the girls who are inside of the house. Like, she took her bra off. You can see her nipples. She's having a good ass time. Bishop was like, what the fuck? So he does walk up to her, grab her arm, and he starts to pull her out. As he is pulling her out of the room, Alamo sees what's going on. So Alamo is like, hey, stop pulling her out. Bring her over to me. Bishop was like, she works for Lori. He's like, that's no problem. Just bring her over to me. So Bishop does walk her over to Alamo. And Alamo's like, it's crazy to me that you just came in, started dancing with my woman, and you did not introduce yourself. Like, that's kind of rude and disrespectful. She's like, you know what? I'm sorry. I apologize. My name is Rue. I didn't mean any harm by it. As the two of them were talking, I was looking at Alamo, and I was like, is that Adebisi from Oz? I was looking at her real close. I was like, I feel like that is the actor who played Adebisi. I am want to do some research just to kind of see, but I believe that is Adebisi from Oz. Rue, Bishop, and Alamo end up going into the bar area. Rue asks Alamo what kind of business is he into. He says that he is in the business of pussy, and then he says that he owns 5 of the dirtiest strip clubs in the state of California. And based off of the way that he was talking, yes, there is stripping, of course, but it appears that there may be some drug dealing, and also there may be some prostitution. Rue tells him that she would love to work with him. Essentially, what I took from it was that she would be the one to kind of keep the ladies in line. He was like, but don't you work with Lori? She was like, yeah, but I hate that damn job. And so he doesn't really give her a direct answer, but it's clear that they are going to build some type of friendship throughout the season. In the next scene, we see Cassie and Nate having dinner. And long story short, Cassie tells Nate that she's going to start doing OnlyFans because she wants to be able to afford things that she wants. So one of the things that she wants right now is this $50,000 floor arrangement for their wedding. Nate, unfortunately, can't afford it right now. And so she's like, this is something that I want to do. So he's like, well, what kind of photos and videos are you thinking about posting? And she's basically saying that she's going to post naked photos. And he's like, well, you know what? If you're going to do that, just make sure that your face and body are not in the same photo or the same video. Basically, you need to crop your face out if you're going to post nudes. After this, we see that one of Alamo's ladies has overdosed. She has died, and she actually overdosed on a drug that Rue brought over. So he's like, when it comes to Rue, I need to see her right now. Bring her to my office right now. So they do bring Rue into the office, and he's like, one of my ladies died. Was this done on purpose? She's like, what are you talking about? She's like, the drugs that you brought over, were they laced with something? Like, why did one of my ladies die? And she's like, look, I don't have anything to do with it. I did not look at the drugs. I had nothing to do with it. I just delivered it. Like, I have no involvement. He was like, I don't believe you. She was like, listen to me. When it comes to me and Lori, I owe her a debt. Like, basically, she goes over the entire backstory of her and Lori's situation. She's like, I don't have anything to do with it. I want to work with you. I believe in God. I'm religious now. Like, that's not something that I'm on. He was like, oh, you're religious? She was like, yeah. She was like, okay. So you believe in God? She was like, yeah. He was like, okay. Well, let's see if God believes in you as much as you believe in him. So he takes her outside, puts an apple on top of her head, pulls a gun out, looks at her, aims, he shoots, and he actually hits the apple. So of course, when it comes to Rose, she's like, "Oh my God, thank you, Jesus!" Like he didn't get me, because of course she thought that she was going to die. Like you saw tears coming down her eyes, and so she just fell down to her knees, like, "Oh, thank God, thank you so much. Like I'm so glad I'm still here." And that's actually how the episode ended. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. If you could, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. That would be great. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care. Bye.